My name is Fradiusi Salmon Mijage from Edukea Tanzania. I'm a history teacher of advanced level. Welcome in this session to proceed with our topic, which is the rise of capitalism in Europe. Remember, in the last session we ended on the definition of the factory system. So welcome to proceed with our factory system led to the rise of working class movement. The way factory system led to the rise of working class movement in Europe or in Britain, the first way was it led to unemployment. It means that the factory system led to the loss of employment opportunities to those working class. In which sense? In the sense that after the invention of various machines replaced the human labor, so human beings were no longer in use or in need to produce in various agricultural activities. So many or majority of people lost their employment opportunities. Another was it led to low wages to industrial workers, and this was due to the industrial owners aimed at maximizing profit with the use of low cost in production. So they paid those workers low wages. So in that sense, factory system led to the rise of working class movements to demand high wages because they worked for long hours and so on. Another how factory system led to the rise of working class movement was the system led to poor housing. Led to poor housing. The factory system led to poor housing. In which way? It means that after the introduction of large-scale industries, those industrial owners decided to build the dormitories in such a way that those laborers were living near the factories, so they were living in rooms with large numbers. So those dormitories were not favorable to them, so they decided to unite themselves to demand the improving of housing. So thus factory system led to the rise of working class movement. Another one, it led to the long working hours. It means that the establishment of large-scale industries led to the increase of working hours. For example, during the factory system or factory system era, the working class were working for almost 18 hours per day. So you can see that how the factory system led to the increase of working hours to those working class. And their way, they decided to unite themselves to convince those industrial owners to reduce working hours. Another, it was poor working conditions. Those industrial workers were working under poor conditions. For example, in industries where there were no ventilations that was providing good condition to them in their performing activities. But those workers were not provided by helmets, gloves, that led to the emergence or occurring of occurrence of immediate injuries in industries that led to sometimes deaths to those workers in industries. But another one, it led to child labor. After the factory system, those working class decided to revolt, and those industrial owners decided to employ children about 14 years old to work on those industries. So it was like an illegal action to employ children in the industries, whereby those children were supposed to be at school. So the working class decided to unite themselves to go against with such action of employing children in industrial production. After looking the way our factory system led to the rise of working class movement, let us see the definition of working class movement. Working class movement, these were organizations which were organized by workers in Europe to struggle against undesirable situations caused by industrial owners. It means these were organizations which were formed by the industrial workers in order to remove those undesirable situations which were caused by the industrial owners. For example, exploitation, the increase of working hours, and such other things. Example of working class movements included Ladism, Capitalism, and new trade unions. Those were examples of working class movements which were emerged during the factory system. Let us start with one after another. By starting with Ladism. What is Ladism? Ladism was the first industrial working class movement in Britain that concentrated or dominated on breaking of machines, as they believed that those machines were source of suffering or of their suffering. It means that Ladism were the movement or the first working class movement which aimed or concerned on breaking the machines, and those machines were believed as the source of Luddites suffering, and those Luddites were concerning on breaking those machines, whereby the founder of that action was Ned Ludd, who acted that action in 1811. It was founded by Ned Ludd in that year which I have mentioned, in 1811. So you can see that those Luddites decided to unite themselves and to struggle against the industrial owners, whereby machines replaced them and they were no longer needed in industrial production. So let us see the factors for the rise of Ladism or Ladism in Europe. There are various factors that led to the rise of Ladism in Europe. The first one was intensive exploitation of bourgeoisie or industrial owners. You have to bear this in your mind that the industrial owners was or had the intention of maximization of profit with the use of low cost in production. So they decided to increase working hours, low wages payment to the workers. So in that sense, those workers decided to wage struggling to demand the rights which were violated by those industrial owners. Another factor was unemployment. Unemployment was caused by the inventions of machines which replaced the human laborers. So those industrial workers were no longer in need. And the production in industries were performed by machines. And such action led to the union of working class to organize the movement to go against with that actions that led to the unemployment. Another factor was absence of social welfare. It means that those working class which were performing various activities in industries, after doing their works, there were no patience after retirement. So due to that actions made those working class to demand those welfare from the industrial owners. And even when they got sick, those industrial workers, no any medical fee were provided from industrial owners to their workers for treatment. And if any industrial worker would get maybe injury that was caused by uncovered machines in the industries, no one or no any industrial owner could give the financial support to those workers who got injuries. So due to that, those workers decided to unite themselves and demand those welfare from the industrial owners. Another factor was absence of political and economic rights. During the industrial or factory system, those working class had no right to own properties. The first one, as it was economic right, and that the right of owning properties was the qualification for anyone to participate in political matters. So that was denied by the industrial owners. But another political right was nobody or those working class were not supported to vote or to be voted. Okay, we are proceeding with this factor as the rise of Ladism in Europe. Absence of political and economic rights. As I have mentioned, various examples of political and economic rights like property, owning of properties, the right to vote and to be voted, and others. So let us go to fifth factor for the rise of Ladism in Europe. The pollution problem. You have to know that in any place where there is industries, there is pollution either in air or in the environment. So those industries which were established during the factory system were polluting the environment and led to the outbreak of diseases to the population which were settling around the industrial areas. So those working class decided to unite themselves to go against with such actions which were done by the industrial owners and their industries. The last factor for the rise of Ladism in Europe was child and women labor. This was another factor that led to the rise of Ladism in Europe. In which way? In the way that the industrial owners preferred to employ these two groups, children and women, in industrial activities because they were paid lowly and they are working at long hours. almost women and children were working almost 18 hours per day. So you can see they worked hard and payment was low. So those groups increased the maximization of profit to the industrial owners. And after such action, the working class movement was organized to go against with such action which were done by the industrial owners at the exploitation to those people. So after looking the factors for the rise of Ladism in Europe, let us see the achievements or roles of Ladism. The first achievement, it promoted consciousness among the British workers. It means after the rise of the first working class movement, which is Ladism, it pronounced the consciousness among the British workers. It means the British workers got the consciousness about the practice done by the industrial owners. Another achievement, it laid foundation for future workers' movements. It means Ladism laid or pronounced the ground for the foundation of future workers' movements like Capitalism and new trade unions. It means this movement given the lesson to future working class movements. Another achievement, it achieved to reduce working hours. It means Ladism, during their struggling for various rights which were violated by the industrial owners, they succeeded to reduce the working hours from 18 to 12 working hours per day. So they succeeded for some extent. Another achievement, it led to the development of socialism thoughts. It means that during the Ladism class working movement, there are some socialist ideas which were introduced by the Ladist readers that were developed by Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx as the emerged socialists in Europe. Another achievement, or the last achievement of Ladism, it improved the working conditions of their workers. It means after Ladism, working class movement led to the improvement of working conditions to their workers. In which sense? In the sense that those industrial owners were pressurized by their workers to improve the working conditions in the industries. For example, the pricing of ventilations. Another one was the provision of elements to the workers to ensure that their health are in the safe way. The provision of gloves, patients were provided to the workers, and the salaries were increased. So you can see the achievements which were pronounced by Ladism working class movement. After looking these achievements, there is an exercise here. It is stated that critically assess the factors for the rise of first industrial working class movement in Britain. Okay, thank you for watching me. Welcome in another session.